Picture this. A woman in her late 60s, retired schoolteacher, grandmother of 4, pulls into a Shell station she has been going to for 12 years. Same pump she always uses. Same card she always swipes. She fills up her tank, goes home, makes dinner, and doesn't think about it again. 3 days later, she checks her bank account. There's a charge she doesn't recognize. Then another. Then another. By the time she calls her bank, nearly $1,400 has been pulled out of her checking account. The same account where her Social Security check is deposited every month. The money for her rent. The money for her prescriptions. Gone. And the worst part? She did absolutely nothing wrong. She went to a gas station she trusted. She paid for gas like she always does. And she still got robbed. Not with a gun. Not with a threat. With a tiny piece of plastic hidden inside the card reader she never even thought to inspect. That story isn't unusual. The Federal Trade Commission reported that card fraud at gas stations and ATMs has been one of the fastest growing forms of identity theft in the country. And I want to be clear with you. Criminals are specifically targeting women in their 60s and 70s at gas pumps because they know you have money in your checking account, and they know most people have never heard of the tactics I'm going to walk you through today. I've been working in cybersecurity for over 20 years. I've investigated card fraud cases, I've worked with banks, I've consulted with law enforcement agencies, and I have seen this landscape change dramatically, especially in the last 3 or 4 years. What criminals are doing at gas pumps right now is more sophisticated than most people realize. So I want to take you through 7 specific scams happening at gas stations today, explain exactly how each one works, and make sure you leave this video knowing how to protect yourself. Scam number 1, the shimmer. When chip cards came out, a lot of people breathed a sigh of relief. Banks told us the chip was safer. Commercials told us the chip was the future. And honestly, the chip is safer than the magnetic stripe. But criminals don't give up that easily. Enter the shimmer. A shimmer is an ultra-thin device. We're talking as thin as a piece of paper that criminals slide inside the chip card slot itself. You can't see it. You can't feel it. Nothing on the outside of the pump looks any different. But when you insert your chip card and complete the transaction, the shimmer reads the data off your chip. What surprises a lot of people when I explain this, and I've explained it to a lot of people over the years, is that shimmers were specifically engineered as a response to chip cards. Criminals saw that chip technology was stopping their old skimmers, so they built something new. This is an arms race, and they are not standing still. The uncomfortable reality here is that millions of Americans feel safe using their chip card and stop paying attention to anything else. That is exactly when you are most vulnerable. Confidence in your card's technology can lower your guard in a way that an uncertain, cautious person's guard never gets lowered. The best defense against shimmers is the same as against skimmers. Use a payment method that doesn't require inserting your card at all. We'll get to that at the end. Scam number 2, the screw in the nozzle. I want to be honest with you. When I first heard about this one, I thought it was almost too simple to be real. But several police departments, including agencies in California and the Southeast, have issued formal warnings about it. So let me walk you through it. A criminal places a small object, sometimes a screw, sometimes a pebble or similar item, inside the nozzle holder cradle. This object prevents the pump from properly recognizing that the fueling nozzle has been returned and the transaction has ended. What can happen then is that the next person who comes to use the pump potentially continues fueling on an authorization that is still connected to the previous customer's card. The previous customer already drove away thinking they paid for their own gas. The next person fills up, and the first person's card gets hit with a charge they have no explanation for. Most people never inspect the nozzle cradle. Why would you? You've done this same thing 100 times. That's what makes it effective. It requires almost no skill, almost no equipment, and it works because we operate on autopilot at the gas pump. The fix is simple. After you replace the nozzle, take 2 seconds and glance at the cradle. If you see anything sitting in there that doesn't belong, anything at all, don't finish your transaction at that pump. Go inside and let the station know. Scam number 3, Bluetooth skimmers. This one genuinely chills me, even after 20 years in this field, because it represents how much more sophisticated card theft has become. Older skimmers required the criminal to physically return to the pump, remove the device, and retrieve the stolen data. That meant risk. That meant they had to come back to the scene. Law enforcement caught a lot of criminals that way. Newer skimmers are equipped with Bluetooth. The criminal installs the device once, drives to the parking lot of that gas station or a nearby location, and wirelessly downloads every card number the device has captured without ever touching the pump again. They can do this while sitting in their car, eating lunch, looking completely normal. The AMVA and several state police agencies, including in Georgia, Texas, and Florida, have issued public warnings specifically about Bluetooth-enabled skimmers found at gas stations. In some cases, investigators used Bluetooth scanning apps on their own phones to detect the devices. Here is the part that really gets people. You could be standing at that pump right now, inserting your card, and 20 feet away in a parked car, someone is collecting your information in real time. You would have absolutely no idea. That's not paranoia. That's the documented reality of how these operations work. Scam number 4, the pump switching scam. This one is less about technology and more about timing, and it catches people completely off guard. Here's how it works. You finish fueling up. You put the nozzle back. You may not think to press end transaction, or you assume the pump automatically closes your payment when you hang up the nozzle. You get back in your car and drive away. What many people don't know is that payment authorizations at gas pumps don't always close the moment you put the nozzle back. There can be a brief window, sometimes several seconds, sometimes longer depending on the pump system, where that authorization is still technically active. A criminal who has been watching you knows this. They step up to the pump the moment you leave and attempt to use that still open session. This scam exploits another confusing reality about gas station debit card transactions. Gas stations are actually permitted to place temporary holds on debit cards, sometimes as high as $75, $100, or even $200 when you begin fueling. This is because the pump doesn't know how much gas you'll buy before you start. So the hold goes on first, then the actual charge settles later. Criminals understand this system better than most customers do, and they exploit the confusion it creates. Now here's the warning sign you should watch out for. If someone is hovering unusually close to your pump, watching your transaction, or positioning themselves to step in immediately when you leave, trust your instincts. You don't have to confront anyone. You can simply go inside and pay the cashier instead. Scam number 5, the classic gas pump skimmer. A skimmer is a fake card reader that criminals install directly over the real card reader on a gas pump. When you swipe your debit card, the skimmer captures your card number, and, if it has a tiny keypad overlay, your PIN as well. The criminal comes back later, retrieves the device, and now they have everything they need to drain your account. Now here's what most people get wrong about skimmers. They assume this only happens at sketchy, rundown stations in bad parts of town. That assumption has cost a lot of people a lot of money. In 2023, skimmers were discovered at Chevron, Shell, and Kroger brand gas stations across multiple states. The AMVA, that's the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators, reported that skimmer-related debit card theft has impacted millions of Americans. These criminals do not care about the brand on the sign. The reason they target debit cards specifically is something I want you to really sit with. When someone steals from a debit card, that money leaves your checking account immediately. It is real cash. It is gone. If you dispute a debit card charge, your bank may investigate for days, sometimes weeks, before they return the money. During that time, you may not be able to pay your bills. You may not be able to buy groceries. That is exactly what these criminals are counting on. The biggest red flags to look for: a card slot that feels loose, moves, or wobbles when you gently tug it. Security seals on the pump cabinet that look broken, tampered, or replaced with a sticker that doesn't quite match. And a card reader that looks slightly different from the pump right next to it. Different color, different angle, different thickness. Trust what you see. If something looks off, it probably is. Scam number 6, the fake QR code. If there's one scam on this list that has exploded in the last 2 years, it's this one. And it works so well because it takes advantage of a habit that millions of people developed during the pandemic. QR codes are everywhere now. Restaurants replace their menus with QR codes. Doctors' offices use them. Event tickets are QR codes. Parking meters use QR codes. We have all been trained to scan a QR code and trust where it sends us. Criminals have noticed. They print professional-looking stickers with fake QR codes and place them directly over legitimate payment information or instructions on gas pumps. You scan what you think is the station's payment QR code. It takes you to a slick, Professional-looking website that looks completely legitimate. Gas station logo, real-looking payment form, and it asks for your debit card number, your billing address, maybe your bank account information. You're not being hacked. You're handing them everything voluntarily because you have every reason to believe you're paying the gas station. The Secret Service's Financial Crimes Division has specifically called out QR code scams at gas stations and parking meters as a growing threat. Cities including Austin, Texas saw a wave of these fake QR codes on parking meters a few years ago, and the same tactics have migrated directly to gas pumps. My rule: do not scan a QR code on a gas pump to make a payment. Legitimate gas stations do not require you to scan a QR code to pay at the pump. If you see one, treat it as suspicious. Scam number 7. The fake customer service sticker. This last one is, in my opinion, the most psychologically sophisticated of all 7, because it turns your own caution against you. You pull up to a gas pump, and something seems wrong. The pump is acting up. The reader isn't working. You see a sticker on the pump that says something like, "Having trouble? Call our customer service line for help with payment issues." And there's a phone number. So you call. Because that's the responsible thing to do, right? You're not clicking a suspicious link. You're not giving your information to a stranger who approached you. You called a number that was printed on a sign at a gas station. How could that be a scam? The person who answers sounds professional. They say they can help you with the payment problem. They ask you to verify your debit card number. They ask for your PIN. Maybe they ask for a verification code they claim they're sending to your phone, which is actually a one-time password from your own bank, triggered because they're trying to access your account right now. You stay on the line because you called them. You feel in control of the situation. And that's exactly why victims cooperate fully. They aren't responding to pressure. They feel like they reached out for help and found it. Law enforcement agencies in multiple states have found these fake stickers placed on gas pumps at major chain stations. The number goes directly to a call center that these criminal operations sometimes run around the clock. If a pump has a problem, go inside the station and speak with an actual employee face-to-face. Hey, real quick. If this video has already made you think differently about something you've done at a gas pump, I'd love for you to leave a comment below and let me know. It genuinely helps me understand what's most useful to cover. And if you have a mother, a sister, an aunt, a friend who you think needs to see this, please share it with them. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm putting out new videos on scams and fraud protection every week, and some of what's coming up is even more important than what we've covered today. I want to leave you with the honest truth about all 7 of these scams, because once you see it, everything makes more sense. Every single one of these scams is not really about gasoline. It's about access to your checking account. The gas pump is just the location. Your debit card is the target. And the reason debit cards are the target is because debit card theft means real money leaves your account immediately. It is not a credit limit being charged. It is your rent, your grocery money, your medication budget. Gone, sometimes within minutes of the card being compromised. In 20 years of working in payment security and fraud investigation, the most consistent advice I can give you comes down to a few things. First, pay inside when you can. A cashier behind the counter at a gas station has far fewer opportunities for a compromised device than an outdoor pump that may go uninspected for days at a time. Second, if you are going to pay at the pump, use a credit card instead of a debit card. Credit card fraud disputes are handled very differently under federal law than debit card disputes. You are not fighting for your own money back the way you are with a debit card, and that difference matters enormously when your rent is due. Third, the safest option of all is a mobile wallet. Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay. These payment methods use a system called tokenization, which means your actual card number is never transmitted to the pump at all. A criminal cannot steal a number that was never sent. I know not everyone is comfortable with mobile wallets yet, but if you want maximum protection, that's where the protection is. Fourth, look before you pay. A few seconds of inspection before you insert your card can save you weeks of fighting with your bank. Check whether the card reader wiggles. Check the security seal on the pump cabinet. Check whether anything looks different from the pump next to you. And finally, trust yourself. If something looks off, if someone is making you uncomfortable, if a phone number on the pump feels suspicious, if a QR code seems out of place, trust that feeling. You do not owe anyone your card information at a gas pump. You can always go inside. You can always drive to a different station. Your instincts have been right before, and at a gas pump, they might just save your bank account. I've spent a career watching criminals get more creative, more patient, and more technically sophisticated. But I've also watched people exactly like you, take simple, practical steps that kept them protected. The information you heard today is exactly what I wish more people knew before they got hurt. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up. It truly helps other people find this content when they need it most. Take care of yourself out there, and I will see you in the next one.